Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to The Big Kids Living. For those who don't know, The Big Kids Living is a current event-based podcast where we talk about a number of different topics, such as sports, music, fashion, gossip, you name it. Anything and everything you want and need to know. It's your boy Ace of Spades, and today I have the pleasure of bringing to you one of my favorite segments here on The Big Kids Living. That segment is the Who Are You segment. The name is pretty self-explanatory, but the Who Are You segment is a segment where I bring on individuals or groups, and they come and they have the chance to earn their stripes, letting you know who they are, what they do, what drives them, what their passion is, and everything you need to know. But today, I have the pleasure and honor of bringing to you one of Jacksonville's, or Duval's, up-and-coming artist, Mo.st. Yes, sir. We're gonna get you popping.
I finally get to sit down with the man from the land of broken windows and concrete floors. Yes, sir. Mr. Mo.st himself in the building. How you feeling, man?
I feel good.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you. It's been a long time, hasn't it?
Man, too long.
Yeah.
Too long, bro.
Yes, sir. Hey, like the setup, man. Hey, like the setup. I know it's clean.
Simplicity is key. Yes.
But, man, go ahead and tell people about yourself, how the music came about, how you got to the point you are now, man.
Yeah, well, music is one of them things that was always constant in my life, you know, when things weren't. You know, like the earliest memories I have is like my mom used to have this big stereo system set up right outside the room, and she used to be playing old like Marvin Gaye and Temptations and stuff like that. And so, you know, I remember like singing, like writing my own songs when I was like 7, 8 years old, and so, you know, as I grew older and you know, started doing a lot of different things, music was that one thing that was always there, whether I was changing, you know, do this, like music was always there.
Yeah. So, with that growing up, like you said, singing all the time, you were even in chorus. Mm-hmm. That's where it all started for us.
Yeah, it was.
For those who don't know, we've gone back 10 years now. We've been at it for 10 years now. That's crazy. Time has flew. So our first time meeting, I remember that. That was my freshman year of high school. I came back to Lakeside chorus, because I was in chorus. For those who don't know, I could hold a note. So I came back, and I was going. It was your 7th grade year.
Yeah.
But during this time, I was just saying what's up to some of the people I left who were still in 8th grade. You know, I was coming back just to see my music teacher, Mr. Shaman. So shout out to Mr. Shaman for bringing us together. I was there, and I was just saying hi to everybody, saying what's up, yada, 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 chopping it up with people. And then you came up to me out of nowhere, and he's coming up to me and said, yo, I heard about you. Everyone's always talking about how I used to be the man, you know. And basically, you reminded them of me.
Yeah.
So
I got that a lot.
Yeah. So, but when he came up to me, it was like, hey, you're Aza, right? And I didn't even know this guy. He's always been like built. So he came up to me, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, but who are you? Like, type stuff. And he told me, explained to me how everybody's like been telling him about me, and I was with a friend of mine, E-Man at the time, and they had us sing. I remember singing Amazing Grace, and, you know, shutting the place down. But after I sang it, I remember sitting there, and you guys were getting ready for a show or whatever, and you guys sang. And I remember even whether it was a solo or just the men's part, I remember hearing you, and I was like, damn, this man's the truth. So don't let the deep voice fool you. He still got the vocals. He just hiding it.
Whenever they come out,
yeah,
special occasions.
And they should be coming out soon on the
occasions.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's how we met. That's how it came about. But yeah, like you said, music's always been constant. Something that's always been around. And even with that, we know you've always been about the music. But there was a time you took a break, or not necessarily a break, but your focus was on something else.
Yeah, playing ball, man. Yeah. I mean, playing ball was kind of the same. Like, I remember, you know, I started playing baseball about 4 years old. And, you know, when I ended up getting to junior high, I started playing football, and that, you know, ended up going on, like I said, through high school and everything like that. But, you know, I don't know, I got real deep into sports. I just fell in love with it. And it was one of those things that I just, you know, I just built my life around it. And I was still writing songs, and I was always singing. I've always been singing. But my focus was really just getting to play college ball, really, for 7 or 8 years of my life.
I mean, you've been a little too modest about it, man. Your sports career, athletic career was right. You got that thing right.
It was all right.
You played baseball, basketball, track and field, football, and you went and weightlifting.
Yeah,
you already see them, but you went pretty far with football as well.
Yeah,
like you said, you touched up a little bit on your football, but come on college. Tell them more about it. Where you went, position.
Yeah, I mean, after I graduated, I ended up going to prep school up in Connecticut for a year, play ball there. So I was getting recruited by some schools that wanted me to go the prep route, so I went and did that. And then after that, I ended up going and playing ball at Howard up in D.C. for a year. So
I was come on, share the experiences, man.
It was crazy. It was life changing. You know what I mean? It was more than the ball, like being able to leave the city, you know, and being able to you know, interact with people that I never would have talked to, like especially at prep school. Like there's groups of people who I never would have had conversations with, and so, you know, being able to travel and see different places, and, you know, understanding that life is really bigger than the city that I'm from was more influential than the ball itself. But I did have a lot of fun playing ball, definitely.
There's a philosophy that's saying to get out of your comfort zone is when you learn the most.
Definitely.
And you're a prime example of that.
Yeah, that was life changing, really.
True. But recently, I remember seeing on IG you were doing questions, and someone asked, "What's up with football? You're not playing no more?" And I think your response, and it hit me. And to this day, I can remember that junk. You said something along the lines of, "I felt like I was chasing a dream that wasn't mine."
Yeah.
So explain like your thought process.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those things, bro. Like I feel like, you know, and they say comparison's a thief of joy, but I felt like I was doing more than other people was. Like I felt like I was just doing everything I should have been doing to the T, and it just, when it came down to it, it just wasn't enough. You know what I mean? And it just, like, no matter how much I did, no matter how much it just was like I was running on a treadmill for a while. And so, you know, as painful as it was, I just had to like come to peace with the fact that I'm like, this might not just be my route. You know what I mean? This might not be what I'm meant to be doing. And so, yeah, that's really all that was. You know, it's just kind of coming to peace with myself and understanding. And like that's one of the other things. If I didn't go to prep school, I don't think I would have stopped. You know, because when I went to prep school was when I was able to really expand and learn things that I was interested in and see how I thought. You know, and so, you know, it kind of opened my mind up to, you know, it's bigger than ball. When I was in prep school, it was like, it's bigger than ball. And so, yeah, man, like I said, I just felt like I was at a point where I was just running, you know, and chasing something that just, you know, just wasn't where I was supposed to be at.
I feel like that itself, that's growth. You know what I mean? That's maturity.
Definitely.
Because, I mean, to this day, there's some people who are chasing that dream. And don't get me wrong, it's all about chasing your dreams, you know what I mean? But there's got to be that point you come to realization where, dang, you know, that time's passed. Maybe it's time to get into something else or something that's really going to reward me in a way.
Yeah, when you got them blinders on, you don't see it, man. Yeah. It's just, but yeah.
So we're going to get ahead and dive more into your music now, man. So you just put out 2 songs, Stories Untold and Ain't the Only. That's got to be a tremendous feeling. What are you feeling right now after dropping those?
Well, man, it's crazy. It's like one word is liberating, honestly. Like I went, you know, for the past year, it's really just been like freestyle videos on IG and like poems and, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So for me to actually get to the point where I'm like, okay, I feel like this is ready to be put out. And you know, and share this with people, it meant a lot. It really meant a lot, especially because I feel like that junk is so personal to me. And so, you know, it meant a lot to put it out, but it was also, yeah, man, it felt good.
I got you.
Good, you know.
Like you said, there was a time on IG you just posted poems, or you just went the route of not even posting it with music. Why is that? Like, what was the motive behind that?
Yeah, I mean, there was some things that I put out, like I said, I put a lot of freestyle videos and stuff like that out, but some things that I put out were just emotion, and I didn't want, I just didn't want to worry about, trying to find a song to match it, and I just this need to go out now, and so I just wrote it and put it out, and that's just what it was.
Okay. What was the feedback like from that?
It was actually positive. It's actually been surprisingly positive. That's one thing that was like relieving when I started putting all this out. Was like the amount of support that I'm getting. Because you never really know how it's gonna go. I just throw it out, hope for the best. But it's actually been positive. I heard a lot of.
Well, if you need affirmation, which you don't, just know, man, you already got a fan in me. And I had to know that you got some people behind you already. You talked about freestyle. Freestyling. So I know some musical processes or artists have different musical processes. Some artists put a pen to paper and craft their song or whatever they're trying to do that way, and then there's others who just freestyle, get it done, and it sounds great, and that's how they do it. So what's your process like?
Well, me personally, man, I'm like I got OCD, man. It's got to be perfect, and so I like to,
type.
Yeah, man, I like to write everything out and plan it, make sure everything sounds, perfect and it flows. But, but I've been freestyling a lot more as I've been taking it seriously, and so, one thing that I've realized about freestyling is whenever I get in a writer's block, which everybody gets in a writer's block at some point, is that freestyling helps me break through that. You know what I mean? Like Stories Untold, 90% of that song was a freestyle.
For real?
Yeah, I was just I remember I was driving home one day from wherever I was, and I just had the beat playing, and I was just driving home, and I'm freestyling to the beat. I had it on loop, just freestyling, and I pull over and I'm taking notes on my phone. I'm and writing it down, and I'm driving again, and I write it down too. And so that's really how that came. And then I went home and just put it all together, and then I spent probably another hour or two adding a few things here and there. But most of that song was just in the car freestyle.
Tell me, you're telling me. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm about to spit it back to you. You're telling me. Florida got me thinking I had to have a metal mouth to be heard. Pardon me if my words slur, my mind racing, trying to beat the rest of me to the dreams I'm chasing. Crack the fortune cookie said my time is now. Females say I'm heartless, and they ask me how I have people ripped at my arms cold-heartedly. So I'm sorry if I can't love you wholeheartedly. I'm working on it. You telling me all that was a freestyle?
Yeah.
That's
freestyle, bro. Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to write that song after you went home and sat down?
I went home and I kind of put the notes of the stuff I had together, and then I probably just cleaned it up for half an hour to an hour, just making sure that everything was But that's how I knew that one had to be the first one, because I've written. I couldn't even tell you. I have notebooks and notebooks of just songs, and my notes on my phone is all music, but the way that came together, I knew that had to be the first one to go out. And that's why I didn't hold on to it. I just I finished it. I'm this has to go out, because it was just one of those things. It came too natural for me to just be whatever. You know what I mean? It was one of those things that it flowed so well, and it came to me so easily. I was it's got to go out.
Yeah. I'm definitely shocked, because the way that song came out and how hard it hits, I'm thinking this is. I mean, I'm saying you put work into everything you put in out. But I'm thinking, this had to take a month. But then that's crazy.
Yeah,
kudos, man. Kudos
appreciate it. And I got songs like that. It's I have songs that I've Stories Untold. Like I said, that came together in about a day, really. But I have songs that I've been working on for months. And that I'll come back to, and I'll write a verse here, scratch, take that out, throw that in there, and then I'll leave it for a couple of days and come back to it. I have songs that I've been doing that for months that I really like, but I feel it's just not where it needs to be yet. But ones like that, it just came out, it just came natural to me. So
you said you got to the point of music where you dove into it and giving it your all, even to the point of building your own studio inside your house.
Yeah, man.
That's how long did that take you? Because I know that had to take some time.
Well, when I came home, the thing is, I when I was up in D.C. in school, most of that I got with my refund check. So I got me a nice little refund check.
That boy got the money.
Hey,
That boy
got the nice little refund.
The government paid for it.
It's not taxable. Most of that, it was for the. I got with a refund check. So I remember I had got the mics. I had put like blankets up on the walls in my dorm room. And got a new computer. I got a new laptop just for music, and a speaker system that's still in my studio, I think. But I replaced it and everything. But when I came home and I started working again, I had just got new monitors. I got a bunch of foam pads and everything like that. Got it redone. I think I set it up in like, a few weeks to get it completely done.
All right, well, I might need you to slide through the crib, set me something up like
improvement.
that.
Yeah, we renovate.
I actually, the other day when we posted that snap of us or that IG story, both of us in the studio, in your studio, and I was like, content coming soon. Everyone hit my DM. Oh, he's finally doing music or whatever. I was like, so I might have to hop on the track after that, man.
I'm always ready to work.
The people wait for it now. The collab is like J. Cole and Kendrick,
Always ready.
So to continue, man, where's your name come from? Mo.st. That's not a typical name,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just what I've been called. It's like junior high. People just call me Mo. But when I started, really going with this music, I was like, I need a name. You know what I mean? And so, I remember I sat down one day and just wrote a bunch of random stuff out. Like I was just, just things that people called me, things that, that I wanted to be or whatever, and just went back and forth about like, what should my name be? Mm-hmm. And, I didn't pick any of them. And, I had wrote song after song after song. And I was like, I just looked at my music. I was like, what is it that I want to do with music? You know what I mean? And that's where the ST came from, because ST comes from storyteller. And so I was like, that's really all I want to do in the music. That's all my music is, just stories. And so, that's really where it came from.
That's pretty deep. Call yourself a storyteller, right? So where did that come from? What's the difference between yourself? Because there's artists and there's musicians. So what's the difference between the storyteller and being just a musician, in your opinion?
I mean, in my opinion, like I tell people all the time, like a lot of artists, like if you're an artist and you're putting music out, like with artist, rapper, music, whatever you want to, 90% of your music, like, it's going to get heard. Like somebody's going to hear it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like no matter what it is, but I want, like when people hear my music, I want to be something people feel. You know what I mean? Like you can hear music and forget about a song, but you can't forget a song that you felt. You know what I'm saying? Like something that took you back. And like it comes from like things, old music, people like Slick Rick and stuff like that. Like where you like you listening to the song and you like you waiting to hear what's going on next and waiting what's going to happen, like that. Paint pictures and take you somewhere. And that's what I try to do with my music. Like try to take people somewhere. You know what I mean?
All right, well, you definitely took people somewhere with that untold stories, and ain't the only, I'll tell you that. And ain't the only, you had a point where near the end we were talking about how people are always saying stuff and don't know really what they're saying or why they're saying it. Or what was that lyric? How'd that go again?
Yeah, everybody wants something to say but don't know what they're saying or why they're saying it.
Yeah, that kind of goes into the whole storyteller definition of someone who makes music that's heard. Like you said, people make music and it'll always be heard, but they won't remember it.